This is an Electrolux Model L. I recently got this from a friend at school. It's a little bit rough. It's been in storage for quite some time. It seems like it was also stored in a damp environment given the amount of surface rust it has on it, especially inside the bag chamber. It appears this vacuum was originally purchased in the early 1970s, and it was purchased as a straight suction only unit, which means this was like they purchased it as like the bare bones Electrolux that you could get for the time, because at this time they had at least two models. They had the Model L and the 1205. The 1205 was the top of the line model, and then this was the lower line model. But you could still add extra features to the Model L, such as the power nozzle and the cord reel. You can see I do have a power nozzle for this. I just happen to have an extra one. It does not have the cord reel though. So it appears that its whole life it was used as a straight suction unit, most likely, although I did happen to have an extra electric hose. Again, both of these hoses have suffered from what most Electrolux hoses have suffered from, which is the deterioration of the vinyl and material that the hoses are made out of. Over time they crack, they deteriorate, they stiffen up, and then they leak. So this hose is pretty bad as far as how much it leaks. I'd say it probably only has maybe a quarter of the airflow left through the hose as when it was new. This one is also not good. That's why I saran wrapped it, so it's decent now, but it's still rather middling as far as how much air actually makes it from the canister to the power head. It did have a decent amount of surface rust on the body, but I've been able to rub a lot of that, clean a lot of that off, and by doing that I did expose some of the metal paint. So you can see that it is a little bit rough, but it can be repainted. It's metal, so that won't be too difficult to repaint. The inside also has a little bit of surface rust, but it doesn't really have any dings in it. Well, it does have a couple of dings, but it's not too bad. These metal chrome pieces, I also sanded off because they had a little bit of surface rust on them as well, so those look a little bit better. Currently, I use this HEPA cloth bag. I don't use paper bags in any of my Electroluxes because paper bags leak so much dirt that there's really no point in using them. It did come with the original dusting brush as well as the floor and tool and wands / rug tool, because both that is a combination rug and carpet tool, and then this is a combination dusting and upholstery brush. This, from what I've been able to see online, this is actually a Canadian Electrolux Model L power nozzle, which is rather unusual because it has this quick release button right here. So I would guess that this is not the power nozzle that would have gone with this Model L, but it is a Model L power nozzle. The bearings are a little bit noisy, which is to be expected for a vacuum that's been stored in a moist environment, damp environments for so long, and I'm gonna guess it hasn't been used for a very long time, as my friend's grandfather is deceased and he's the one who bought this vacuum cleaner new. This is actually my third Model L Electrolux. This is the only one I have at the moment, but in past years I've come across a few of them. And they're nice vacuums. They're not my favorite model of Electrolux, but I do like how light they are. That's one thing that is nice about the older style Electroluxes like these, is that even though they're still very sturdy vacuums, they're considerably lighter than other Electroluxes, such as the 1205, which was made the same time as this one. It was just a more expensive model. So there isn't much else to say about this vacuum besides the fact that it is a little bit rough, but the motor is totally rebuildable, which again is pretty much true for all Electrolux canister vacuum cleaners of this era. And it's a nice vacuum. It's relatively quiet, and it's light, and it has really good airflow, and it would have even better airflow if I had a new hose for it. So without further ado, I will run it for you guys to see. So that is the Electrolux Model L.